Good evening, this is your host, MENDAYZZ, on the NETERAL radio show, where bronze women worldwide come together in harmony, respect, and unity to encourage holistic and sufficient discussions as a way of empowerment and upliftment for all bronze women of all shades worldwide on the NETERAL radio show. Today's date is August 7, 2018 on a Tuesday evening, and the time right now is 10 p.m. And tonight's hot topic is going to be about the rebirth of the bronze man. Please be advised that this is a 60-minute live talk show, so you all can stay tuned. So, a brief overview of last week's topic was about what is the significance behind bronze women's womb and the seed that she carries. A brief overview of some of the things that we talked about in subtitles were: what is the significance behind bronze women cleaning up their mind, body, and soul, how to practice projecting our children in the future as bronze women, and why the worth of a virtuous bronze woman is important, and last but not least, what is the significance of the bronze woman womb and the seed that she carries, which was the grant of the topic. So, with that being said, we're going to go right into the topic on tonight, which is the rebirth of the bronze man. And I basically wanted to talk about the difference between the alpha and the beta man. So what is the difference between the alpha and beta man? As we all know, alpha to be the beginning, the first, and beta as in the second into coming into becoming. Okay, so the alpha man, I want you to acknowledge, been through a lot of experience, which has a lot to do with the development of the becoming the alpha man. Okay, and they also been through special encounters, which was a direct elevation from one point to another. Okay, so that's one aspect of an alpha man, going through experiences and encounters, which determine his state of mind of being an alpha man and maintaining the maintenance of being an alpha man and being able to direct and be in leadership. Okay, alpha men are also self-starters and visionaries. And when it comes down to self-starters, they basically build their own. They don't look for no one to build anything for them. They don't look for any handouts or anything like that. They look to, build things on their own. And when it comes down to visionary, them being the visionaries, they're able to visualize things into the future and manifest those things into the future based off of their actions and what they see and bringing about that vision. Give you a prime example. Alpha man usually know what type of alpha woman that he wants, and he automatically knows the role that he wants that alpha woman to play in his life. So a lot of times he will see her in his future. It may not, present circumstances may not show that she is so, but he already visualized this woman as his alpha woman, or whatever the case might be. He already visualized her as so. So a lot of times you have alpha men that do those things, and not just even in relationships, but things that he wants to do when he aspires to have a business or be able to become something over time that is going to be well off and sufficient for the future. Okay, this is what alpha men do. Alpha men are mentally, soulfully, and physically strong exclusively. Okay, they're mentally strong based off of the level of endurance. Soulfully, basically on them being in connection with themselves and being able to be in connection with things outside of themselves, which shows a soulful strength that a bronze man have, an alpha man have. Okay, and then being physically strong, building up the muscle capacity, building up his stature and structure as a bronze man shows the exclusiveness behind being strong. Okay, now beta men only go the course of experience and life lessons, but never graduate to special encounters by choice. Now what I mean by that is that you have certain so-called black men that already feel that they got three strikes against them because of the color of their skin, because of who they are as black men. They already have an inferior complex. Okay, and the fact of the matter is that you have an alpha man that disqualifies all of that. Those three strikes against himself as a bronze man, they disqualify that. But those beta men internalize that, and they let that be the lead and the guidance for their life, which is the mistake, and which is why they don't never graduate onto special encounters of being those strong and regal alpha men. Okay, so they willfully choose to stay in that position, stay in that state of mind, always being a victim, never able to see the solution to any problem. So this is what they resort to in doing. Okay, now for beta men, when it comes down to them being followers, beta men that are structured and strategically following, or in training, should I say, under the leadership of an alpha man. Beta men that are in position of that, when you're in training, you're in the making and developing yourself into that alpha man, you are usually followers of visionaries and mentors. I usually like to use the father to son contour as an example. And I use that because you have a father, when he has a son, you already want to see certain qualities he want to build within his son. Certain things he want him to be, activities he want him to get into to build up his strength, physical strength, and his mental strength and capacity. You got fathers that always do that when they have a son. Okay, they basically want to develop their son. So when you have a boy to father, he's basically transitioning him into when it's time to be that young man and then that full-grown man. Okay, so alpha man once was a beta man, basically a boy in training, but the alphaness was always in the bronze man. Okay, it was just a matter of a development. Okay, so beta men are followers of visionaries and mentors that are like father-like, have those qualities as development into alpha men. Okay, these beta men are not compromised in any kind of way, or even think of being compromised in any kind of way, or even think of anything that will be compromising in such a way where it will demean or degrade their manhood. Okay, their manlyhood. Okay, they don't think of things like that. Okay, so these beta men usually are usually open to listening, open into following things that are structured, logic and structured strategically. They don't apply their emotions into the decisions. They think with full logic and going forward into the development into an alpha man. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not no big I or little U's because of being an alpha or beta man. It's just the distinction between the two, and you understanding that you have to develop into an alpha man. Some people say you already born an alpha man, yes, but you have to also understand that you have to develop into that actual man. Okay, so moving along to beta men being physically strong but mentally stubborn as the equation to them being mentally weak. You got men that are strong stature. They appear to be strong in stature, but they mentally weak based on how they react to certain things, and they making decisions based off of their emotions and things of like that. They basically very illogical about things that they do. So that can basically exemplify them being mentally stubborn, and they may equate that to being strong when it just defines and show that they are being willfully and mentally weak. Okay, so that is the difference between an alpha and a beta man. Okay, I'm going to be talking about this during the show and throughout the show of alpha and beta men, because I really wanted to make emphasis on that. So I want you all to just stay tuned and just hear everything out. Okay, so with that being said, and we are back. Okay, so our next subtitle that's coming up is how do you determine the balance between your mental and physical strength as a bronze man? Now your soul, I know you're wondering why she didn't say soul, but at the end of the day, when your mental and your physical is in alignment, your soul is already into play and driving you forward into the future. Now, I also want to make this clear that yes, I am a bronze woman. Yes, I am. And I will never understand the full capacity of what it is of manhood. I can only, tell by experience, by the progression and the evolution of a bronze woman. But the fact that I come from a strong and regal bronze man himself, I carry on the mental strength and transcript of that bronze man. So I only know to a specific degree in the fact of me coming from a strong and regal bronze man himself. So as I share this topic on tonight, I share it in the essence of, it was a suggestion by a bronze man himself to talk about the topic, because he felt as though I was able to give, valuable advice and input on this on tonight. So this is why I'm sharing this. This is not me being put in a position of know-it-all or anything like that. I'm just giving my outlook on the difference between an alpha and a beta man in itself. And if this resonates with you as a bronze man, more power to you, I shall say. Okay, so when it comes down, once again, in the subtitle of how do you determine the balance between your mental and your physical strength as a bronze man, your mental determines your ability to think efficiently, effectively, and on a level of endurance. Okay, so based off of you making a decision or coming up with a thought and it's being effective. When it's effective, that means it's logical. And then when it's efficient, that means you able to execute whatever it is that you was able to think up, and in terms of it having an effect and you being able to execute that thought accordingly with logic. Okay, and based on your level of endurance, which has a lot to do with your patience as a bronze man, determines your ability and to process your thought, being non-emotional as a bronze man. Okay, so you're able to more or less see things for what it is and not for what you conjure up, based off your emotions of assuming things. Okay, another thing, how you can define the balance between your mental faculty has a lot to do with the level of speed. The speed of your thought defines the balance based on how you're able to think fast, effectively and efficiently, and be able to execute that thought, and it just affect everything based on how that one decision that you made has a lot to do with your speed of thought. So if it takes you more or less longer to decide something or to come up with a thought, that basically means, it doesn't mean that you slow or anything like that. It just means that you need more development and time. And a lot of times you either going off of your emotions as a man opposed to just thinking with just pure logic. Okay, and then at times, yes, it may take time as a so-called young man to outgrow your emotions and think with just pure logic. That takes time, and that takes perfection, that takes experience. Okay, for you to be able to think with that level of speed without it giving you more time to think about it. Give you a prime example. When you're going through a little situation with another man or whatever the case might be, based off your emotions, you might stop yourself in reacting to the situation, but it may take you longer to forgive or to come to a grounding, whereas you are being in unity and harmony with that man, opposed to just having a ego blow, a clash of ego blows and conflict with that other man that you may have a problem with. Instead of you addressing it and dealing with the situation accordingly, it may take you longer to think on how you want to, effectively and efficiently execute your thought. So your thought and being able to balance your emotion make conflict with each other, opposed to you dealing with it on a practical base and with logic. Okay, if that makes any sense in itself. Okay, so instead of you being the type of man where you feel, oh, this person violated me, he disrespected me, he did this, instead of you getting emotional about it, you might want to take a step back, 2 steps, 10 steps back, and just think about the situation like, okay, let me assess this, from a practical and literal aspect, and be able to resolve it accordingly, opposed to you just going off your emotions and then you having a begrudging feeling towards this person. That's not you developing as a man. You stifling yourself as a alpha man and just a man in general. Okay, sometimes that can be the conflict in your manhood and becoming that full and that regal alpha man. That could be the conflict of how you deal with situations. Okay, so going back to the speed of thought, it may take time, but at the end of the day, you will develop into a capacity or a position where you may not have patience for certain things, but you'll be able to deal with it in a way where you don't have to be entangled in all of that nonsense or going through any type of motion or conflict as a bronze man. Okay, so that's how you deal with that. And over time, as things become less and less emotional, and you see things from a logical perspective, and they come less and come, less and less, and your thought process would be able to speed up quickly. Okay, and like I said, that's the balance between your mental faculty and your mental health and state of mind as a bronze man. Okay, now when it comes down to the physical attributes, meaning your muscle toning and building, is defined by your ability to structure and strategize your stature, which is equivalent to your level of strength. So if you say as a bronze man, you know what, I need more muscle toning to build up my muscle tone, to build up my strength, my muscle capacity, and I just want to, not just have that image, but I want to have a level of strength to be able to pick up a certain weight or whatever the case might be. Or you might say, I want to be lean and I want to be muscular for a specific reason, because you want to be able to mobilize, you want to be able to still do things, and you still want to be able to eat healthy and things like that. You are basically strategically and structuring how you want to your physical attributes to look. Okay, it's not so much of the facial and the beauty and things like that. There's not so much emphasis on that. The emphasis is more or less on the whole body makeup, the whole structure, how you toning yourself, how you sculpting your body and things like that, which has a lot to do with your balance of strength, has a lot to do with it has a lot to do with you being able to be able to balance out your actual strength from your physical strength. So in other words, you not overworking your body, like over exercising your body, but you within the frame of whereas you stretching your muscles accordingly, and you're doing it in a way where there is progress and not just hindrance, and you excessively working out and things like that. Okay, so you're doing it in a strategic and structured way, which is a balance between your mental and your physical. Okay, when you overwork your body, then you overexhaust not only your body but your mental faculty, and that slows down your thought process as a bronze man. Okay, and it throws the whole balance off. So you want to be able to strategically say, okay, if I'm going to do this one specific exercise, I'm going to do this to perfection. I'm not going to be running, a treadmill or running a track and sweating, even though sweating is a part of, getting rid of certain toxins in your body. That's fine. But when you are overexhausting yourself to the point where you just overdoing it and just being extra is not good for the body. So you want to make sure it's a balance. You want to make sure that you are actually executing certain areas that need to be executed, and you not just feeling that, okay, just because you're doing the physical part of it, that the sculpting part is going to come along. No, if you know you got to do a sit-up, even if you got to do it from a stage 1 to a stage 2, you got to work your way up to it, where you actually doing it and you actually working on that muscle toning and things like that. Okay, it's two different things. It's two different things between you sculpting your body strategically and structurally, and then you actually staying fit, working out to stay fit. It's two different things. Okay, but when you allow your mental to be in alignment with your physical structure, and and how you your stature and how you strategizing it will be different. That's equivalent to your level of strength. Give you a prime example of what I'm talking about. A boxer. You cannot teach a man how to fight if the fight is not already in the man. If you trying to teach a man how to hold his hand and how to do certain things or whatever the case might be, is not in him to know how to fight or be able to maneuver in such way, but it doesn't mean that he don't know how to defend himself. But at the end of the day, he may not know how to throw a punch or be able to do anything effectively and efficiently, because that's not what his mind and his body's in alignment to do. Now, you got some people, some men, that it's already in them where they know how to box and they know how to move a certain way and just do straight cold out knockouts. They just know how to, use their hands, and that has a lot to do with the physical buildup of them, along with their mental being in alignment with their physical. Okay, so once again, you cannot teach a man how to fight if a fight is not already in him. Now, a warrior is totally different from someone who's skillful with their hands. A warrior don't care about anything. They just going in cold turkey. And their level of strength is phenomenal. Okay, the level of strength they hand is almost as if it's a brick. Just describing the level of strength, where you be like, damn, one punch they knocking you out, or one hit you just on the floor. Sometimes, when it comes down to their physical strength and their stature, that's what that can happen. Okay, and it could be the most tiniest person at times. The person may not necessarily be strong and physically have a muscular stature. It's just their mental and their physical being in alignment, and their level of force and how they react shows their level of strength as well. Okay, so this is the balance between the two. And then the level of strength determines the balance between your physical strength and actual strength, as I explained previously as a bronze man. Okay, so now moving along to what the past represents and the future defined as a bronze man. Simply, the past represents the destruction and the distraction of the so-called black man. As we all know how past history and things of that nature, how they try to emancipate the so-called black man, have this connotation in their mindset that, oh, you already got 3 strikes against you in society. That's already a form of destruction, and you being labeled as a black man and you not being able to define yourself. That's a quality of destruction upon the black man in the past. Okay, and distraction to whereas you letting worldly things be a significant part or integral of you developing to a full-grown man. So that based off your distraction is slowing you down, your whole process, your thought process and your development, and you evolving into a grown man because you stuck in a certain mind frame, which is why, as a prime example, why it takes a lot of so-called men longer to develop fully, because of the fact of them not going through a lot of experience and encounters. So it delays the whole process of their manhood, especially when you are compromising yourself to degrade and demean yourself as a so-called black man, and just doing things that just degenerate. That's a form of having a beta mindset when you take on the compromised role as a black man because you feel that you got 3 strikes against you. Now, alpha man is going to disqualify that. Alpha man is not buying that at all. Alpha man stands on their word. Their word is their bond. They say what they mean, and they mean it what they say. They have a warrior's mindset. They don't have no game kind of mentality. They have a warrior mindset where they going in. And when I mean by going in, I'm just using a phrase whereas they, when it comes down to fighting, there's no end to it until they fighting until they see actual blood. Okay? They're not looking to get conquered or be conquered by circumstances or be put in the position where they're allowing, men and women to take care of them. They know how to hold their own. They know how to build their own. They know how to provide. They know how to protect. They know how to be able to build. Okay, this is what alpha men know how to do. Okay, and they hold their own. Okay, they know that they take on the role of being a man in any relationship or in leadership. They know their role and they handle it very well. Never would they allow a woman to wear the pants in a relationship or it be backwards or anything like that. They are forward thinkers, and they acknowledge things and being forward and practical and in alignment. Okay, and they have a bronze woman right next to them that falls right into place as they foster that guidance, and that bronze woman, that alpha woman, brings that order upon along in that union or that relationship in itself. Okay, that's just me giving an example on the destruction and distraction of the so-called black man. Okay, another distraction to degrade and demean yourself is when you have to feel as though you have to resort to homosexuality because you feel there's too much challenges against you, or you feel as though you're not going to be able to win in a society, or whatever the case might be. These are distractions of you actually bringing about that alpha already in you. It's a form of society destroying that in you already. Okay, so that's something to acknowledge, and to be able to, if you understand where I'm coming from and what I'm saying about this, you know how to, think about what it is that I'm saying in terms of the destruction and distraction of the so-called black man in the past. Okay, now the future bronze man defines the birth and the beginning of the alpha bronze man. That alpha bronze man that is not compromising, not trying to be no victim to anybody or anything, but they standing on a warrior's mindset where they're gonna protect, provide, and build and lead their people forward into the future. Okay, so this is something to think about. And I know some people might feel as though, there's a beginning, there's an end. But with this alpha bronze man coming out into the future and coming up, it's not so much about his awakening, as I said. It's about his rebirth. It's about his becoming into his state of mind. As his mind is awakening, his body is falling into alignment as well, which is a beautiful thing. Okay, so this has no end to it. This is just the start of it. Okay, with no expectation of it being the end. This is something continuous. Okay, with that being said, we'll be right back. Okay, and we are back. So the next subtitle on tonight is how the rebirth of the bronze man will impact the next generation and the world, next world order to come. Now, the rebirth of the bronze man is about collectivism and unity. Okay, and it has a lot to do with the alpha man as well. Alpha man acknowledge that collectivism and unity plays a part in the building of the future. Okay, now for the beta men that are just disoriented and disorderly, has a lot to do with being ego driven off of their ego, and a lot of times they are governed by their emotions. So they acknowledge the whole conquering the division and things like that. They don't see the value in collectivism and unity. So they would like to conquer and divide because of their unity or disingenuous effect or participation into real men or live alpha men activities and things like that. They would despise it, and they will seek to conquer and divide that which the alpha man is setting out to build because of jealousy, because of being ego driven, and then just having a very combative mindset, to whereas they think just because of confrontation that it exudes some form of strength, when all in actuality it doesn't exude any strength at all of the so-called bronze man. As I said before, when you have a beta man, a bronze man that's in a beta role, 9 times out of 10, by him feeling as though him being mentally stubborn and, being able to be confrontational and things like that, he may think those are qualities of strength, but it's really qualities of being a weak man. Okay, so that's something to acknowledge and going forward in the understanding and the capacity of being an alpha bronze man. Okay, so the rebirth of the bronze man means the rebirth of a strong and supreme bloodline to come with the bronze woman. Okay, that does not mean that this bronze man is going to be seeking out other races of other women and things like that and mixing a seed to water down their bloodline and their genetics. It do not mean that. These bronze men, as they awaken and they rebirth a new state of mind, you know, they ultra stand in the fact that it's very imperative to extend their bloodline with another bronze woman and their genetics. Okay, so with that being said, and alone in itself, that is a specific alignment, mind, body, and soul. Okay, with the bronze woman per se, and being able to produce those like-minded children as well. Okay, so this is why it's significant. Also, as a bronze man, you want to be able to be in a healthy position. When you smoking weed and you taking in all of these particles and things like that, you are basically degenerating your bloodline in itself, and that's the ultimate destruction upon you being able to produce as a so-called bronze man. Okay, if the way I see it is, if you taking on these weed and you a weed head and you just smoking or whatever the case might be, and you inhaling it and things like that, that's the wrong way of actually consuming marijuana. Okay, marijuana is supposed to be consumed in a form of a tea. Okay, but if you are consuming it, you have to acknowledge in this day and time as a progression of destruction on a so-called black man. You gotta ultra stand that there's gonna be things, particles laced in your marijuana that's gonna cause you to lose your mind, where you may not even get it back. It's not even a chance of you getting it back. So you smoking, you drinking, you got to understand that these are forms of weapons already against you, okay, to weaken your mindset, to weaken your body and things like that. Okay, so acknowledge that in the awakening of you realizing that, okay, this is not for the greater good of me or me progressing into that alpha and that bronze, you know, strong and regal man. Okay, but for those bronze men that stand up on the strength with the warrior's mindset, I love to see bronze men like that. I love it so much. I'm a bronze woman, and I love to see bronze men standing strong, mentally strong. Give you a prime example of being mentally equipped and just having power alone. And when you make your no be no and your yes be yes as a bronze man, that's power behind that. Give you a prime example, someone who, you know, I acknowledge as the greatest of leaders is Elijah Muhammad. This man may not have been physically strong. He was small in stature, but he was mentally strong. You know, he'd been through a lot by experience, and he'd been through a lot of special encounters, which as the action alone spoke for itself. The power behind everything that he did, the impact, the effect that he had on generations, and just in that order and that time frame that he had was phenomenal. Another person is Dr. York. Dr. York is another profound leader who came, brought a community together, fixing them up and cleaning themselves up and things like that, bringing a new image, you know, bringing that soulful connection back into alignment. He's another one. And as we can acknowledge, another, you know, bronze man coming up is Nuben Menkarayzz. He's trying to bring a collective of people to be in alignment mentally. Get your mind right, because it all starts in the mind. So I acknowledge that Elijah Muhammad, he brought the body together. Dr. York brought the soul together. And Nuben Menkarayzz, in this day and time, the greatest of all in leaders. You know, and this is not just to big him up, but the greatest. Because you got to realize that from all forms of greatness, there's always something to come that's greater. Okay, and right now in this time and day, I speak for Nuben Menkarayzz as a leader, an alpha man that is leading and guiding, you know, a community and going forward. And this is a man that means what he say what he mean, and that's a beautiful thing, you know. And the men that follow him, they are alpha men that are in the making, that are gonna be able to lead their lead and be able to lead a community of their own as well, which is a beautiful thing. But just to have that structure and that order in the building is beautiful. I love to see that. I love to see bronze men in alignment, doing what they need to be doing, clean shaven, clean, got a strong and regal look to them. They don't look dirty. I had a discussion with somebody when they said that, as people try to stay clean or they try to clean themselves up, they still got a dirty aura about them, no matter how much they try to clean themselves. You got people that look that, especially bronze men, the men that have not developed into alpha men. They got that look to them that where they just look dirty. It don't matter how clean they look or try to look or whatever the case might be, they just still look dirty. Okay, so in spite of all of that, at the end of the day, the next world order will ultimately be governed by well-nurtured and balanced alpha men, where they able to lead and guide communities and nations, even a woman, the bronze woman on their side, and bringing them into alignment. Okay, so these bronze men are, alpha men are orderly. The beta men that's already lost his mind is disorderly. He don't have nothing to offer to the world. He's basically nothing and choose to be nothing. Okay, the next world order will be destroyed, including all defilements and degeneracy, and replaced with restored power and order that is sufficient and effective. And these are bronze alpha men coming up today. Okay, so this is a beautiful thing, and I just wanted to hope that people that were listening were able to get something out of this, especially you bronze men that are just want to hear your outlook on a bronze woman perspective on the rebirth of the bronze man. I say more power to you. I love you all. I love y'all, to death, I'll say. And yes, I am one of those bronze women that will stand by your side to the end. If we gotta go to war, we going to war hard body. Okay, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of bronze women that stand in place behind me in the same mindset and attribute as well. So with that being said, I thank you all for listening to the NETERAL radio show, and I hope that you all have a wonderful night. So with that being said, good night.